Welcome back everybody to Group B here in the round of 16 of the TLS. We have just witnessed an epic ZVZ between Michael and Bakuryu. I can't believe Michael, man. Like, what actually causes you to think that? You're like, huh. Well, it's like 12 minutes into a ZVZ. Better go build some Sunkens in his natural.
It's like one of those lateral thinking problems, isn't it? But that's just so smart. I love that. That's really clever. And there's just nothing Bakuryu could do. He was done immediately.
Yep.
Amazing stuff from Michael. Really well thought through. And just showing an amazing ability to kind of seize an opportunity when he sees it. Very much deserving to go out of this group 2-0. Very much so.
Indeed. And now we're going on to the rest of the group. As you can see, it is currently Nemu versus Project. Now this is a bit of a heartbreaking match for me, of course. I do love Project, and I'm becoming quite fond of Nemu as well. He is quite a character, so I don't really want either of these guys to go out. But unfortunately, one of them must be eliminated here in this game.
Yeah, and you know, I have to root for Project. I want it to be Project. I want Project to go through because there's something about him. There's something about his play which just gets me. I find him really interesting to watch. And lovable though Nemu is, I think it's in the name of all that is fair and right in the world of Brood War. Project needs to go through right here.
Alright, I don't know about that Brood War Justice Elegant. We've already seen some crazy upsets and things.
Yeah. But, well, if there was true Brood War Justice, there would be far more Protests in this tournament right now.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. If it was true Justice, there would only be Protoss left, which would be a little bit boring, to be fair.
Yeah, well...
But, what are you going to do? Alright, let's go into the game. Losers match between Nemu and Project.
Yep.
And here we are in the game. At the top right, as the teal Zerg, we have Nemu. And at the bottom left, as the white Terran, we have Project.
Yes, we do indeed. So yeah, once again, we come to another moment of truth. Both of these guys find themselves in the losers match. Are going to have to use a well-known phrase, go big or go home, I think is how it's said. So basically, these guys both going to have to bring their A game right here, and unless they do so, they're going to find themselves crashing out. Each of these guys can capitalize on each other's mistakes. I mean, I know I tend to underestimate Nemu, but he has to be a good player because he's here. So Project really is going to have to watch his back and not make any silly slip-ups, whereas meanwhile, Nemu knows the kind of caliber he's up against. He needs to do his best.
And I'm quite curious about Nemu as well, because we've already seen him play the other side of this matchup, right? A TVZ. So now he's playing the Zerg side, and we must not, we must not let Baku continue. Oh, what do you got against Bakuryu, man? He's awesome.
He's lovely. Yeah.
Oh no! Oh man, Nemu's BMing skills are so great that he's BMing someone who's not even in the game anymore. He's like chat rushing Bakuryu in the next game when he's not even there yet. Look at how far ahead he's planning. He's like, alright, I'm gonna win this game and I'm gonna have to face Bakuryu next. So hopefully he's gonna watch like the VOD of this or the replay and he's gonna be intimidated by my BM. This is like some crazy meta BM going on here.
Yeah, I mean he's playing the mind games. He's playing the full-on mind games. I've never seen anyone BM in advance. That's really quite smart. So maybe he'll have put the fear of Nemu into Bakuryu, but only time will tell. Meanwhile, we have some 12 hatching action going down at the top right-hand corner from Mr. Nemu, and Project not doing any kind of crazy super red expansion or anything. He's just going to play it fairly standard, throwing down his barracks and doing a little bit of an SCV scout action as well.
Indeed. So, no crazy cheese coming out from either player. I wouldn't expect it from Project, of course. Although it's curious to note that he didn't 14cc again. Probably not too sure if that'll work against against Nemu. See, against Bakuryu, you can definitely do that. Bakuryu's never 9-pulling you in ZVT. But against Nemu, it's like, not so sure about
that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think it would be the very best idea.
Although, Although he's actually not sending out a second SCV scout. Oh! Just as I say that, he sends out a
there
second
it goes.
one. Ah.
Yeah.
All right.
He's going to play a bit safer than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not going to find anything particularly drastic. I mean, 12 hatch. How much more pedestrian could you really be? He's not going to be nastily surprised by anything, which is good.
Indeed, and looks like the SCV is about to poke in here. Actually, wait, no, this map's a little bit bigger than I thought. Huh.
It's pretty big. It takes you a while to get around.
Yeah. Alright, so now he's going to see it. He's going to be like,
yeah.
Okay, it's a 12 hatch. All good. So he's just going to 1-ranks expand, which is what he's doing anyway. He built 2 Marines first. You know, against a 12 hatch, you can obviously go just 1 Marine or even no Marines and just build a CC, but he didn't know that. So just playing it safe, and that is absolutely fine. And we see a 3rd hatchery down for Nemu as well. So both players completely standard so far.
Yep, and fairly unremarkable from these guys, as Sale already said. But,
you know,
we have?
From Project. He's
so we
going
have.
+1.
Okay, so it becomes slightly remarkable. Project going for the early +1. Probably just going to be. What do you reckon? Do you reckon it's going to be a real concerted attack, or do you reckon it's just going to be a poke?
I'm pretty sure he's going to go for 5 racks and put on a lot of pressure. I know Project does like to do this style. I've seen him do it a lot. Of course, he is. You know, he has a lot of. He's got high APM. He's got good bio control. So that kind of build does make a lot of sense coming from him. And yeah, being cross-map though, it's going to be a little bit harder to put on pressure. You know, the naturals obviously of the Zerg is going to be a lot farther away. It does mean the 3rd base will be a little bit closer, but I still think, you know, as we said already, this map is quite big, and I don't think he's going to be able to do too much.
I think that's kind of an interesting choice given the map, because he knew that his opponent wasn't in the top left-hand corner, so then he knew that there was a 50% chance from there of him being cross-positioned. So I'm surprised he kind of fancied those odds and didn't play it something a little bit more conservative, because like you say, the cross position really doesn't favour a heavy kind of aggressive style. So I'm not quite sure why he chose to go for that option at the end. Yeah,
maybe it's just something he was comfortable with, and I mean it's not bad by any means. Obviously it's not completely ideal, but you know, playing 5 racks from this position I think is still fine. I'm just gonna walk a little bit longer, and maybe he'll just pressure the 3rd base a little bit more instead of going for the natural, and that's completely fine as well. So we do see the +1 on the way, as expected, and we do see Nemu. Looks like just going for a standard 3-edge Spire here. So yeah, no craziness coming from him. Interestingly enough.
Yeah.
Oh.
He doesn't seem like a player who brings out. Maybe I'm wrong, but he doesn't seem to like do cheesy stuff or crazy stuff all that much. I mean, he's kind of got this wacky spirit, but when he's in game, he seems to play it fairly straightforward.
Yeah, he's not chatting that much
surprising for a random. Yeah, maybe he's feeling a little bit on edge in this game, especially after how hideously it went in the end against.
He's gonna lose this match now. He's like, maybe I should try a little bit harder.
Seriously. Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, hopefully he's still having fun, and well, I guess we'll just have to wait for the mutas to come out and start poking around here. I mean, we're not really going to see too much else that's interesting. And yeah, as expected, we do see the 5 barracks. As I said, Project loves to go for this 5 racks, fast +1 pressure build against Zerg, and just kind of keep the Zerg on the back foot. You know, instead of having to build a lot of. Ooh, that's a mistake.
Yeah. A little bit of an error right there from Project, letting his first medic get away.
Yeah, but basically, Project, instead of having to build a million turrets to defend against mutas, he wants to kind of force Nemu to be the one defending with his mutas by pressuring with the Marines. So that just kind of saves him a bit of money on minerals and also relieves the pressure on his base.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm just thinking actually now, it's kind of funny how different this style is now compared to what happened in his first game against Bakuryu. Because in that game he went 14 CC and got away with it, which is nice. But then the transition was to go for 2 racks and a CAD and not get the super fast +1 and mass barracks, which meant that he had a lower Marine count and also had to build a lot of turrets and let Bakuryu do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So the way the game plays out, I expect will be quite different than what we saw in game number 1.
Yeah, and I'd imagine that's pretty deliberate from Project. I mean, it's I'm hardly surprised actually thinking about it with the way the previous game went that he's decided to change up his style in this match, because I think that's an entirely valid approach. It's trying to fix the mistakes on the fly, which is a good idea. If you've got another build you're comfortable with, if you find yourself caught short once already in the day, it's always good to try and mix it up to try and make sure that the same mistakes don't happen again. His missile turret placement seems better this time as well. If we can see here, he has his missile turrets placed way into his mineral line, so they're going to take much better care of the SCV. He's going to have to get good scans down though, because of course those mutas on the high ground not going to be spotted until they come out over the SCVs, by which time it's almost too late. Micro, not most amazing from Nemu, but he's going to be able to catch a few SCVs. But those 3 missile turrets are really spectacularly placed. We can see all 3 of them shooting every time right there.
Yeah, that was slightly lackluster, but I mean, it wasn't. It could have been worse, I guess. Is the nice way to put it. Meanwhile, it's like going into the. Oh man, that could not have been worse though. He didn't even shoot once there.
Not a single shot going off for Nemu.
Okay, that couldn't have been worse. But all right, he's gonna poke around here into the main. He's gonna try and do some damage. He's got a Marine there, but he's gotta be careful. Oh man, losing a Muta. This is not going well for Nemu at all.
No, I mean he's really struggling to find an opening. What am I talking about? Project seems to have got this pretty well closed down. Nemu's micro doesn't seem to be quite up to the scratch it would need to be in order to be making a dent in this kind of defense. But in order to actually get away with this, he needs to be persistent. He has to keep looking for the gap, and he has to keep poking Project into uncomfortable positions. Otherwise, he's never really going to make that Mutalisk harass pay off, and he's just going to be committed to defending back across the map. Lurkers are already coming out though, so it actually feels a little bit early to me. I don't know if it feels a little bit early to you.
Man,
but
he's also taking a 4th base already. That's certainly early. I'm not sure about the lurkers, but that 4th base is super duper early, and I don't know if he can actually defend that, especially with Project moving out on the map already. The lurkers are not quite finished yet. It'll be kind of a race to see if the lurkers get to the bottom right first or the Marines do. The Mutas are trying to buy as much time as possible for the lurkers to finish, but I'm pretty sure the Marines will get there first anyway. Oh man, Muta's taking so much damage as they buy time. Meanwhile, more reinforcements coming out for Project, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. Going for the fast 5 racks allows Project to do this kind of aggressive move out pretty early in the game here, and we can see the lurkers are not going to be in time.
No, I mean, those lurkers, if anything, they're just going to be able to block off reinforcements, so they're going to be able to do no better than that. They might just be able to prevent those Marines from moving up the ramp, but there are a couple of lurker eggs blocking. Nemu, meanwhile, desperately trying to push forward to save that hatchery, but he knows it's not to be. And I think he was really trying to rush it way too much with that early 4th hatchery. I mean, that's unconventionally quick. That's really pretty excessively early, so I'm not surprised that it was taken down, because this is actually a very, very standard situation to find yourself in.
It's quite interesting though, because I mean, I'm wondering if he'd actually delayed, you know, an extra 30 seconds with the Mutas and the lurkers got in here in time and set up a good arc here, he might have been able to defend it. I'm not really sure. It is still quite a large natural. Project has good Marine micro, but I'm pretty sure he could have actually maybe held it off. Meanwhile, though, he is picking off some of these reinforcement Marines, and he's slowly but surely kind of cornering these Marines. So he is finally going to clean this up. And Project sending a few reinforcements with that many lurkers, though, and only pure bio, I think he'll be able to defend. Because look at this, Nemu's actually abusing the fact that they're cross-map to have basically no defenses at his natural. He's focusing all his efforts on defending this fast 4th base. So that's kind of why he's able to do this, whereas normally you wouldn't be able to, because you're kind of risking the Terran actually moving at your natural instead.
Yeah, I think that's actually very smart use of the cross-map position, because it does, of course, have that application, whereas most people wouldn't have seen that. So I think that's actually pretty smart. Meanwhile, Nemu continuing to try and push out. It looks like he will be able to force Project back, but he kind of lost all his link cover a little bit unnecessarily. So he's actually having a bit of a hard time in moving those lurkers forward, and he's definitely not going to be able to kind of close the
Oh my god, he's going Hydra-lurk. Yes, this is awesome. Nemu is going Hydra-lurker, and it looks like he's getting a base at the top left as well. He's going expansion crazy and lair tech crazy. He's going to have a huge lair level army. He's not going for the usual rushing for hive and defilers that Zergs do in ZVT. He's instead going for Hydra, Lurker, a big, strong mid-game composition that's going to be super fun to watch. I really love this style.
Oh, and it looks like he might be able to get the engagement. Project stop paying attention to his Marines. It looks like he's going to lose almost all of his Marines. Oh, horrible engagement right there from Project. He's left with only 4 Marines, and he's going to have to completely regroup, and 1 Marine does make it out with 1 hit point left. That Marine is running scared right now on its last stim pack.
Man, this is pretty crazy that Nemu is actually going to be able to take this 4th base, and he's got a hidden 5th base in the top left. And what's even crazier to me is taking these opposite corner bases makes sense when you have a hive and you can get Nidus canals, so you can instantly reinforce. But he's not getting a hive, so he actually can't like very easily defend that base from a drop or something. So this makes a little bit less sense to me. Like maybe it would have been better to take the 3 o'clock, take a close expansion where you can kind of defend all your bases together with your big Hydra-lurker army. So that seems to be slightly contradictory what he's doing there, but otherwise, Hydra-lurk, I love it.
Yeah, I think Hydra-lurk is just... It's somehow just a really enjoyable, fascinating style to watch. Just you get these huge epic engagements, and you know I love that kind of thing. And it looks like we're going to have another big engagement coming in here now. Nemu's going to try and close down these tanks. That is a lot of lurkers. We might be able to get the burrowing down right underneath the tanks, but Project's positioning is not too bad. Oh my god, this could be hugely expensive for Nemu if this doesn't start going a little bit better for him. It looks like it is going to start going a little bit better for him, and he will be able to push Project back Project is losing ground. He's losing units left, right, and center. He is in a severe amount of trouble right now because Nemu has been able to hold his 4th base, and he's now going to be able to drone up a little bit as well. This is starting to look seriously bad for our friend Project. Nemu with a hidden base in the top left-hand corner as well. So going on up to 5 bases at a pretty early stage in the game.
Indeed he is, and Project doesn't have any idea about that base. I mean, I guess he knows about the 4th base at least, and he can't even do anything about that. He has no signs. Okay, look, just building a command center actually for a 3rd base, but even if he floats it over here, this can be a mineral only with only 6 patches, so that's not even a full base. And Project is looking in quite a bit of trouble here. He's behind on supply. I mean, he's going to be facing a crazy good army. Yep, there is a drop at the bottom right. It looks like he forgot to bring a medic, though. He brought 8 Marines instead of 7 and a medic, so that's a bit of a blunder there. Will make it much less effective, although it doesn't even matter. So many units coming in to clean it up very easily. The main force, though, is moving on the map, using that drop as a slight distraction to kind of get a bit of a position, but really a small army compared to what the Zerg has.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to do something really good to get a foothold back in this game. The classic Project cost-efficient style has really not worked this game. I mean, he's been bleeding units constantly. So he's going to have to really work hard to get back into a decent position. It's by no means done yet. We can see Nemu's still not 100% confident in those engagements. Project just about managing to hold his own in the middle there, although that was a little bit dicey for my taste. But he should be able to grab his 3rd base now at least. But Nemu sneaking at that top left hand corner expansion, that's going to be a pretty big deal because that provides that extra gas boost that is really going to take him to Ultra's tech and to the pilot tech.
Oh man, and there's a huge army bearing down on Project. Nemu, by the way, is getting ensnared from his Queen's Nest, so that's going to be exciting when that finishes. But yeah, clearing out the siege tanks, forcing the bio army back. Another drop going down to the bottom right. Actually has 2 medics this time. Project can't really figure out the balance of these drops. 2 medics is okay. I think 1 medic is still better though.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's man, Nemu, he's already feeling confident. I think he is already so far ahead that he can actually afford to do this kind of crazy shenanigans with the Queens. But well, he's got to defend this bottom right base first. But oh man, look at all these units just flooding in here. Easy peasy defense. Although he doesn't actually catch the dropship though.
Yeah, I do unfortunately have to agree with you. I think Nemu really is that far ahead at this point that he can try to use his snare. He can see what happens. It can go wrong. Although his natural expansion looking a little bit undefended as Project's Marine Medic Ball pushes towards it. He's going to have to swing his main army back from his bottom right hand corner where it was all defending that one dropship. Maybe a little bit of an excessive defense right there from Nemu, but Project is going to be able to make his way all the way into natural expansion where he's going to be defending a choke point effectively. Oh no, 2 siege tanks getting left behind him. He needs to bring them to his main army.
But he's going to lose his natural. And so that didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's really pretty useless right there because all it does is makes the Marines stay standing still, which is pretty pointless. And Nemu's going to have to lose a lot of units as he comes in right now trying to take care of these Marines. He's finally going to be able to clean up, but it looks like he's going to be able to keep his natural hatchery alive. All those Marines going down at once. And that not quite doing the damage that Project maybe hoped it would, but now in the bottom right hand corner we have another drop coming in, and finally that is undefended, so Project's multitasking going to pay off, and he should definitely be able to catch a few drones and that hatchery as well, so a little bit of a windfall for him right there as well. But unfortunately, still having not scattered the top left hand corner, he's in the dark about quite how much economy he's facing down against, although suddenly we see exactly how Project can lead himself back into a game quite rapidly with a 3rd base established for himself now as well.
Yep, and the ensnare, I think it does make the Marines shoot slower as well as just move slower. Actually, a fun fact I believe is that if you ensnare a Marine while it's stimmed, it shoots at the same rate as if it wasn't stimmed. So the stim doesn't do anything, basically. But yeah, anyway.
Wow.
Looks like the Hydra-lurker are coming down to help clear up this drop. It looks like it's mostly cleared up anyway with a couple of lurkers here. And Project moving out on the map. The thing is, Project, you know, I think this might have been the same problem that he had in the first game he played, where his 4th base, again, where is he actually going to take it? It's slightly easier on this map because I think he can take the 9 o'clock base, but still, I think he's got to think about taking that a little bit sooner than he did in that match against what was it? Mockery. There we go.
Yeah. But meanwhile, we have Project pushing into a rather disadvantageous position. We can see he found himself in a rather hideous arc facing down against the Zerg army right there, and is now going to have to retreat and try and regroup a little bit. His army's not bad, and he's able to do quite significant damage to the Zerg army, but at every point it just seems to get on top of him. He just ends up kind of getting squashed by this unstoppable Zerg ball of stuff. So I think he should be a little bit more careful as he pushes forward, because really his army is very small at this point, and his 3rd base looking tenuous at best. He's got relatively little standing army behind this one, so he needs to be careful and make sure that he doesn't actually lose this army this time, because there's not too much to back him up if he does.
And it looks like the 3 random Marines that were left over from the drop are going to go back, probably force a cancel on this hatchery here. Because the main army is also pressuring the front as well. But here come the cows, here come the Ultralisks and Lurkers from the other side. This army is dead meat here. Oh man, no chance at all. That vessel's probably going to get scourged down as well if the Scourge were paying attention. But you might be able to get one last irradiate off. A few tanks were coming in to help out, but they are not nearly in time. And probably for the best, actually, because they probably would have died as well. This hatchery actually wasn't cancelled, though. Nemu was too busy paying attention to the attack, so he's actually going to lose the hatchery, I think. The Marines just need to focus it down, and... oh! Down to the last Marine to take it out. And meanwhile, there's a drop in the main base. I wasn't even paying attention. Drop in the main. The drones are evacuated. He should focus down the Evo. Yep, there is the focus on the Evo chamber. It's probably going to go down here, but I don't think too much else is going to die with all these things coming in. Although, the SimCity and the Zerg's base is actually blocking the Lings a little bit, but no, it is going to be enough.
Yeah, it is just... yeah, it's just about going to be...
oh, and Vulture's on the top left! Project multitasking like a boss!
How did he even scout that? Did he scout that before?
I have no idea. I assume the Vultures were actually there to scout instead of to kill it. And oh, he's gonna catch all the drones. Oh my god, massacre.
Project.
Actually, he killed me, I thought.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna get them all with Stim Marines, but nonetheless, Project might still be in with a shot here. He might just... there's a dropship in the Zerg's main, but it's got nothing in it, so I don't know why I didn't notice that before. But Project might actually be able to take out the top left-hand corner hatchery, although having said that, a bunch of Lings pop out and they're able to deal with that oncoming Marine force, so it proves ineffectual, but now he knows it's there. He should be able to pressure it. Oh my god, huge engagement coming in. All those siege tanks are going to get caught out by the Ultralisk. This could be a huge, huge deal. If Project loses all the siege tanks, he is going to be unable to replenish them, and it's pretty much going to be done. The Ultralisks are streaming in. Those siege tanks are going to have to make themselves pay, but the Ultralisks just keep on coming. There's nothing you can do. They're just refusing to die. Oh my god, Nemu with a huge army of Ultralisks is able to pretty much clean up, I say pretty much, you might be able to actually clean up the entire army from Project right here, and that was a lot of siege tanks we just saw die.
Oh man, that was a sick engagement. Oh, that's definitely going to be a screen cap for our recap post. That was amazing. It was like dropship in the main, gets taken down there, and Project, even though he's, holding on barely, he's basically mined out his main as natural. He's only mining off this mineral only now. As I said, not really thinking about taking a 4th base, and that's definitely costing him now as well. Even though he's been doing good drops, good harassment, he can't really just afford to produce anymore. I mean, he's got, what, 3 factories and 5 barracks? I mean, you can't afford that off just the mineral only. I mean, his army is dwindling thin, and the Zerg can just keep producing. He's got so many bases still. It doesn't matter how many Project kills. Nemi just keeps making more, and... well, yeah, it's looking a little bit hairy for our favorite Terran here.
Yeah, it's really not looking good for Project at all at this point. I mean, he's trying to push out. He's got a decent core of siege tanks, but Nemu can just keep producing these ridiculous numbers of Ultralisks. I mean, his economy is just getting a little bit out of hand at this point. That top left-hand corner survived a little bit too long for my liking, and though Project did eventually scout it, it was just, I think, a bit too late, and everything just got a bit too big for him, a little bit too quickly, and now the siege tanks siege up, but I think it's going to be no more than a last stand because the Zerg forces are just coming from every angle, throwing down a completely gratuitous ensnare, but why not? When you've got the tech, you may as well use it, and he just squashes the remainder of the Terran army, and Project is in tatters right now. There are more forces coming into his natural as well. They are cleaned up, but nonetheless, the Ultralists are just going to prove too strong and are going to keep streaming on towards his natural. Nemu pulling back now, but I think he knows that all he has to do is regroup and then hammer down on that 3rd base. GG!
GG! Nemu goes on to the final match. Now, I just realized before the game ended that Nemu actually forgot to get the carapace upgrade for his Ultras.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. I didn't want to say anything, but well done to Nemu. He looked very, very solid in that game. He kind of lost his grip on it a little bit as it went on, but he was quite daring, and I liked that. He did what he wanted to do. He wanted more bases, so he was going to take more bases, and nothing was going to stop him. And it worked out. Project just wasn't quite able to really make any significant dents, apart from when he almost took down the natural. But even then, he wasn't able to actually get rid of the hatchery. So Nemu looking quite convincing there, and he's going to be feeling good going on to the next game.
More importantly, Nemu got ensnare, which immediately makes him a baller.
Did it really do anything?
I thought the ensnare at the natural was actually quite good. Even though the Marines weren't really moving, it did slow their fire rate quite a bit.
Yeah, I actually never knew that before. That's quite amazing.
Alright, so with that, we will have one more game for today, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be Nemu versus Project in the final set of Group B. Be right back.